I was down at the square for this Black Lives Matter rally, and I had my ukulele, and then I saw a post that Bobby had put, and so like, do you want to like what was that post?
It was a post of two Prescott citizens standing out at the courthouse square with their M16 or AR-15s or whatever, and they were in full camo gear. And I just said, "This is what." Well, let me back up. So, if you were watching the news that week, the news was feeding us the reports of BLM protesters going into towns and tearing up towns, lighting them on fire, burning police cars, trashing towns, breaking into stores and looting. And that's what we were being shown, what BLM was, and that's what
Yeah,
was being put out there
right,
by the media, all the major networks. So when we heard they were coming to Prescott, or when I say we, because I was part of the group that wanted to protect this town,
right,
we were not going to let them tear our town up.
right,
And so that's why we were out there. We weren't. I don't think there was any intention to actually shoot anyone. I think it was intimidation.
right.
And I think it worked. I mean, I don't know. In hindsight, the protesters were college kids. They were college kids, and they were just out there voicing their opinion, which is cool. We were all at that age at one time. I was watching Vietnam War history this morning, and the same thing happened back in the 60s. Exact same thing, pretty much.
Right. Did
So
you
it-
ever participate in any of those?
No.
No,
No.
because I did, and like, that's like, we that's an example of our different kind of backgrounds and stuff, and so like that puts us, like this metaphor of the hills, like so you are and I really like
Yeah.
to keep that
Yeah.
metaphor going because I really think it's so valuable to see it as like try to see it like, okay, you see things in a completely different way than I see them.
Right.
And it's a very and it's a very personal thing,
Yeah.
I feel like when we're talking about race and economics and
Yeah.
like the way our country is was founded and everything about the lives that we live together, go very deep.
Well, a lot of the freedoms we have today to go out and protest like that, our people that came before us fought wars and fought for our freedoms. And I was also in the Marine Corps. I served in the Marine Corps.
Right.
And so I've been trained in that mindset. We're going to protect this country.
Yeah, right,
You know.
right. And I was raised as a Quaker,
You're right.
and the Quakers, by definition, are pacifists.
Right.
And I mean, there's some Quakers have different within, like not all Quakers are actually pacifists.
Is Quaker a religion or a lifestyle?
It's a religion,
It's a religion.
and it was actually, I actually, strangely enough, don't know that much about it,
Yeah.
even though
Yeah.
I was raised that way. But I know that I was raised to think that guns are bad. That's how I was raised. In fact,
Guns are bad in the wrong hands.
well, I mean, I'm
It's
just
not
talking
the gun.
about
The gun didn't do anything. It's that person.
yeah, but I'm not talking about anything except how I was raised.
Right.
To see this is
Right.
like because we weren't allowed to have squirt guns. I couldn't have a squirt gun.
Okay.
But what was weird is like my brother wanted to get a BB gun, and he wasn't allowed to have a BB gun, but I was allowed to have a hunting bow with razor sharp heads that were designed for killing.
Right.
And so it was kind of symbolic, so it's not like I don't really I'm not attached to the correctness of how I was raised, because
Yeah.
I feel like it's just a viewpoint
Yeah.
that's probably different than it's way off. My mother actually went
Yeah.
to jail for her beliefs.
Wow.
She
Okay.
was
That's
she
not-
she would refuse to go into air raid shelters when they would have these air raid drills.
And that's why they put her in jail.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they would put her in
Wow.
jail, and and she sent me. I went to school, and I wasn't allowed to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Wow.
Um, my mother sent a note with me, and so I would sit down at my desk. All the other students were like this, and I was silent.
Yeah.
And then when there would be air raid drills, we'd have air raid drills, and all the students, the kids would hide under their desks,
Yeah.
and I would stand there, not doing anything, and it was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was like an outsider.
Yeah.
So, it's like these points of view,
Yeah.
are really
Yeah, that's
hard.
interesting.
It's not like I can just change, and I don't want to change my point of view.
No.
But what I want to do is understand the way my point of view is connected
Right.
to your point of view, because I think that
And I think the reason we can have all these point of views too is because of the country we live in. I mean, I watch the History Channel a lot. Watching a thing on North Korea the other day. They don't have the right to. They can't sit and talk like we are. They were trying to interview a young lady, and boy, when he asked certain questions, she got real quiet. You could tell her face changed. And we can talk. We can talk. We can say things about our leader, our president, and they can't do that. So and the reason we have these freedoms is because of our military and our guns, and we protect our country.
see, I hear you on that, but
Yeah.
I don't agree with you.
Okay,
And it's
what,
totally
what don't
like
you agree?
it's just that I don't see it that way. I don't see the guns as the reason, because I see humanity as the reason. I think that's the default. I think that people, this is the way, like that. North
Well,
Korea.
okay, I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Yeah, no, North Korea is a case of extreme disease, mental disease. It's like a dictator.
Okay, he's got nuclear weapons.
Yeah, that's got
So-
nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
and it's not. I don't look at that as any kind of alternative. It doesn't
Yeah.
come close. I see. I think that people are naturally wanting to share ideas and to be open to ideas, and I think
Yeah.
that that's something that was taught in school.
Right.
So
So there's like, how do we break down, like you say, break down the walls? Like, how do we
Right.
get to that point where we can break that down with North Korea? And what about Hitler too?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
how do we
just
break
all
it down
through
with
history.
North Korea? Because I was thinking like more in terms like, how do we break that down with us? Like how
Yeah,
can
gotta
we have
start
such
in our
different?
community, and then
Yeah, like how can we? Because I think like and we could start with just you and me, because how do we? Like obviously, we because I know that you listen to me. It makes it much easier for me
Yeah.
to listen to you.
yeah,
So like I feel like it's easy for me to hear you say things that to me are actually are painful.
Yeah.
Because I see our country has always been divided. I feel like our country has
Yeah.
always been kind of built on division. Like,
Yeah.
there's been, and that's what racism is,
Yeah.
and I feel like our country has also been built on war,
Yeah.
and I don't really believe in it,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's because
No,
I
I
was
agree.
raised that way.
I know, and I totally agree with you there. So there's,
Hmm.
we both agree on that point.
Right.
And
And that's the
just-
thing, is like we really do agree. I believe that we agree on
Yeah.
so much more than we disagree on.
Yeah.